The moment I saw the dying girl, glowing text started floating in the air right in front of my face. It was like subtitles for a movie, only I could see, shimmering in neon blue and angry red. Ugh! The true heiress suffered for 18 years. She finally comes home and she's about to die. Meanwhile, her biological family is off vacationing with the fake heiress. They only regret it after she's a corpse. Too little, too late. I am so done with this tragedy porn. I'm sending the author hate mail. I am 5 years old. I barely know my ABCs, but I understood the important part. This big sister is going to die. I was sitting in my stroller, a custom-made monstrosity that probably cost more than most cars. My bodyguard, Nash, a man built like a vending machine made of muscle, was pushing me down the sidewalk. We were supposed to be going to the park, but we had taken a shortcut through an alley because I had demanded to see a kitty cat I spotted earlier. There was no cat. Just a dirty dumpster, and a girl curled up beside it. She looked like a broken toy. Her clothes were rags, her skin was gray, and she was shivering even though it wasn't that cold. I reached up with my chubby little hand and yanked hard on the hem of Nash's jacket. I pointed my other finger straight at the girl. Nash! Call mommy and daddy right now. Isla wants that doll. Nash followed my finger. His eyes landed on the figure curled up next to the dirty dumpster. He frowned, his hand instinctively going to the earpiece he always wore. He crouched down to fix my rumpled shirt, his voice patient but firm. Miss Isla, that is a person, not a doll. I nodded. I heard him, but I didn't care. Oh, okay. I want that person. Tell Daddy to buy her for me. My daddy, Alexander Sterling, always said his little Isla was born to have everything. If I didn't have something, it just meant we hadn't thrown enough money at it yet. So I want to buy a person. That's reasonable, right? Totally reasonable. I puffed out my chest, mimicking Daddy's boss voice, which mostly involved looking grumpy and loud. Nash, I don't care how much it costs. Buy her. Nash's hand flew out and covered my mouth. He scanned the street like he expected the FBI to jump out of the bushes. Miss Isla, he hissed, looking around nervously. This is the United States. Mr. Sterling runs a legitimate business empire. He is not a human trafficker. Oh, I said, my shoulders slumping. So I can't buy her? I started spinning in circles, my little shoes scuffing the pavement. Panic set in. The floating text said she was going to die. I couldn't let her die. I was anxious. I was freaking out. I was going to explode. Suddenly, the girl by the dumpster let out a wet, hacking sound. A dark, metallic liquid surged past her lips and splattered onto the concrete. Her body seized up in a violent rhythm, shaking like a leaf in a storm, then went completely limp. I had never seen anything like that. The raw horror of it hit me like a physical slap. My spinning stopped. My breath hitched. Waha! I burst into tears. Loud, ugly, snotty tears. But the sister is going to die. Seeing my tears, Nash's composure cracked. He was trained to take a bullet, to drive through a blockade, to disarm a gunman. He was not trained to handle a crying 5-year-old heiress. He scrambled to get his phone and dialed Daddy. Sir. It's an emergency. Miss Isla she's upset. My meltdown seemed to trigger more floating text. It scrolled faster now, like a waterfall of words. Wait, is the true heiress being saved? Did we read the script wrong? Who cares as long as Clementine lives? Wait a second. Isn't that Isla? The billionaire princess of the Sterling family? I remember the backstory. The fake heiress's parents tried to swap their second daughter with Isla when she was a baby. Clementine stopped them. OMG. Yes. Clementine got locked in a basement for a month because of that. For that, they only gave her stale bread and water. I squinted, trying to read the fast-moving words through my tears. My eyes went wide. My mouth formed a perfect O. Oh, my God. This sister saved me? She is Isla's savior? The tears stopped instantly. Now I really had to save her. Daddy's booming voice came through the phone speaker, loud enough for me to hear even from the stroller. Nash, you've been with me for years. Do I really need to teach you how to handle this? She's just a person. If you can't buy her, find another way. If you pull this off, your salary doubles. Just do not let my daughter be upset. I covered my mouth to hide my giggle as Nash got scolded. Hee hee. Isla said it. Isla wanted it. Isla got it. Chapter 2, The Bunny Mask. The VIP hospital suite was quiet, smelling faintly of antiseptic and expensive flowers. It was bigger than most people's apartments. I sat in the oversized leather chair next to the hospital bed, swinging my legs back and forth. Nash was standing at a small table, slicing an apple for me with the precision of a surgeon. I munched on a slice. My eyes fixed on the girl in the bed. She had been cleaned up. The grime was gone, revealing pale skin and sharp cheekbones. Her dark hair was spread out on the white pillow. Wow, sister is really pretty. She looks like a Barbie doll. Her parents clearly didn't want her. That means she's mine now. Yay! Nash stepped up next to me, falling into his professional briefing mode. He treated me like a miniature CEO, which I appreciated. Miss Isla, this is the lost daughter of the Vain family. Her name is Clementine. She was returned to them recently after being missing for 18 years. However, she is not favored. They have had her for 2 months and haven't even bothered to legally change her name or announce her return. He paused, checking his notes. Yesterday was the girl's birthday. The Vains gave all the staff the day off and flew to Paris with Lacey, their other daughter. They left Clementine here alone. She was kicked out by the temp staff who thought she was a squatter. The glowing text in the air started scrolling furiously. No time to change her name? Bullshit. Every time they tried, Lacey threw a tantrum and sabotaged it. Lacey even said Clementine was a great name. Said it sounded like a servant's name so she should keep it. Know your place and all that. Great name? If it's so great, why doesn't Lacey take it? That whole family shouldn't be called Vain. They should change their last name to Psycho. I didn't understand all the big words, but I recognized the last one. I swallowed my apple and shouted. Psycho. Family of psychos. Nash blinked, looking down at me in shock. Miss Isla, where did you learn that word? I pointed a sticky finger at the air above my head. The magic word said it. Nash squinted, seeing nothing but the ceiling. He looked confused. He really is an idiot. The fairy tales say only smart people can see magic things. Isla can see them. Therefore, Isla is the smartest. The floating text seemed to notice me noticing them. Whoa, can the little princess see us? Wait, did you save Clementine because you saw our comments? You are literally the kindest baby ever. Voice message, Isla can't read all that text. Send voice notes like me. Suddenly the text turned into little audio bubbles. I couldn't hear the words, but the popping sounds made me giggle. Just then, a sound came from the bed. Clementine was waking up. I scrambled off the chair and leaned over the rail, placing my small hand on her forehead. Yay, not hot anymore. She blinked, her eyes unfocused and glassy. She stared at me blankly. Is this heaven? Are you an angel? She didn't seem to believe I was real. Her hand reached out, trembling, and pinched my chubby cheek. The sensation must have grounded her. Her face crumpled. Tears welled up in her eyes, instantly spilling over her lashes. It was a silent, heartbreaking cry. She didn't make a sound, but her whole body shook. Seeing her cry triggered my own waterworks. My lip wobbled. Wah! I started wailing too. Nash looked from one crying girl to the other, his stoic bodyguard mask slipping. He looked like his head was about to explode. Please, ladies. Miss Isla. Finally, after a lot of awkward patting and soothing noises from Nash, we both sniffled to a stop. I sat on the edge of the bed, eating a cupcake Nash had produced from somewhere. Nash stood by the bed, explaining everything to Clementine, how I found her, the hospital, my dad. When he got to the part about me wanting to buy her as my doll, a flicker of confusion crossed Clementine's pale face. But then she looked at me, and she nodded slowly. The floating text laughed. Clementine, I have no idea what is going on. But if the angel baby says I'm a doll, I guess I'm a doll. Nash filled in the blanks. The Vains had never bothered to transfer Clementine's residency or legal papers because Lacey threw a fit every time they brought it up. Then came the bombshell. Based on Clementine's testimony, Daddy found out that the people who raised her, the Chens, had actually plotted to swap me with their next baby when I was born. Clementine had stopped them. Daddy didn't just get angry. He went nuclear. He made a few calls, and the Chens were arrested immediately. They were gone. To thank Clementine for saving me, Daddy made a decision. He waved his hand, cutting through all the red tape. She is my daughter now. He gave her a new identity, a new name, Clementine Sterling. Clementine held the brand new ID card in her trembling hands. She stared at the plastic like it was a foreign object. 1 hour, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Turns out it only took 1 hour. Those monsters, they said it was complicated. They said the paperwork was hard. All this time. Her breathing hitched. The dam was breaking. She was about to collapse under the weight of 18 wasted years. Her face contorted in ugly, raw grief. Suddenly, Nash moved. Flat. Clementine froze. She reached up and touched the cartoon bunny mask that had suddenly appeared on her face. Huh? She blinked, confused. Nash let out a long exhale, glancing down at me where I was busy counting ants on the floor. Miss Clementine, I am begging you, Nash said, his voice deadly serious. I just got a raise to 7 figures. I do not want to lose it. The floating text in the air exploded. I can't breathe. I was getting emotional, and Nash just shoved a mask on her face. Nash, listen, lady, keep it together. If you cry, the baby cries. If the baby cries, my bonus dies. Ha ha ha. Wage slave. Nash, I know you have trauma, but look at my bank account. Stop the tears. Did he say $1 million a month? Oh, let me act for a bit. I'll cry for you, Nash. I looked up at the commotion. My eyes lit up. I scrambled over, stomping my little feet. Nash. I want a bunny mask too. Like Sissy. Hee hee. Isla has a bunny mask and Isla has a sister. Isla is so happy. Chapter 3, Mud Pies and Mean Girls. For the next few days, Clementine lived in our house like a frightened mouse. She was always careful, always shrinking into the background, afraid to touch anything in case she broke it. No way. I decided to take her out to play in the mud. We need to get her acclimated. This is my favorite game. I called my neighbors, Oscar and Lottie. I even prepared a pink bucket and shovel specifically for my sister. Sissy. Here. I shoved the tools into her hands. It's super fun. Clementine took the shovel, looking bewildered. She crouched by the edge of the sandbox, watching us. She looked at Nash. Do rich children play with mud? I remember Lacey had to take etiquette and deportment classes from the time she could walk. Nash didn't blink. That is for standard rich families. They need to groom their daughters for marriage alliances. Sterlings do not need that. Mr. Sterling said the only rule for Miss Isla is that she has a happy childhood. Clementine nodded slowly. She didn't say anything else, but she looked at me with a gaze full of envy and wonder. By now, Oscar was already building a castle. Lottie was making mud cakes. I squatted down and started digging furiously. I am going to dig a super big swimming pool, I announced. Oscar laughed at me. You said that last time, Isla. It turned into a puddle. This time is for real. I puffed up my cheeks, angry. Clementine looked at me, her voice barely a whisper. Can I help you? Of course. I chirped. We can dig together. Clementine picked up the small pink shovel. She started digging next to me. Her movements were slow. She didn't move much dirt, but she was smiling. The floating text drifted over our heads. Clementine is so good. Look at how careful she is. It breaks my heart. Has she really never played like this before? Of course not. In that hellhole with the Chens, she was lucky just to survive. I was about to say something to her when a shrill voice cut through the air. Clementine. What the hell are you doing here? We looked up. 3 people were standing at the edge of the sandbox. I recognized them. They had tried to talk to me at one of Daddy's banquets. The Vains. Mr. Vain, Mrs. Vain, and their precious Lacey. They looked furious. Clementine's hand convulsed. The pink shovel slipped from her fingers and fell into the sand. She stood up instantly, her shoulders hunching as if expecting a blow. Jeffrey Vane pointed a finger straight at Clementine. The lecture started immediately. I know you have some resentment, Clementine, but running away like this? It's disgraceful. Let's be real here. We watched Lacey grow up. Isn't it normal that we favor her? Think about it. Didn't she share our love with you for 18 years? You should be grateful. Question mark. I felt my baby brain trying to expand. Adult logic is weird. Deborah Vane crossed her arms, her face twisted in disgust. Come home right now. Playing with these dirty peasants? How do you expect to marry into a good family if you're seen like this? I looked sideways at my friends. Oscar, the son of the richest man in the state. Lottie, whose dad owns half the skyscrapers in the city. Peasants, right? Lacey stepped forward, wiping a fake tear. Her voice was syrupy sweet and poisonous. Sister, if you wanted attention, you could have just asked. Why did you have to play dead? Do you know how worried Mom and Dad were? They cried so much. Clementine kept her head down. She didn't speak, but I saw her hands shaking violently. The air above us exploded with angry text. Holy crap! How did these psychos find us? Playing dead? Clementine was literally dying. If Isla hadn't saved her, she'd be a corpse right now. The fake heiress is acting again. Someone get her an Academy Award, stat. I was angry. Super angry. This is my sister. Who gave them the right to bully her? I stood up abruptly. I grabbed my shovel and charged in front of Clementine, spreading my little arms wide to shield her. Go away! I screamed. Stop yelling at my sister! The three of them paused, blinking at me. Lacey looked down at me, her face twisting into a sneer of pure revulsion. Where did this dirty brat come from? You stink. She lifted her designer shoe, aiming a kick right at me. Chapter 4, Daddy Arrives. Before Lacey's foot could connect, a shadow moved faster than light. Nash was there. He didn't shove her. He simply stepped in front of me and caught Lacey's ankle in midair with one hand. He held it there, effortless as holding a feather. Lacey shrieked, hopping on one foot. Let go of me. You brute. Nash looked at her with eyes as cold as ice. Assaulting a minor. That is a felony, Miss Vain. He released her leg with a slight push, sending her stumbling back into her mother's arms. Who do you think you are? Jeffrey Vain roared, his face turning red. Do you know who we are? We are the Vains. And do you know who she is? Nash asked quietly. Before he could answer, the ground seemed to vibrate. A convoy of black SUVs pulled up onto the grass, ignoring the "Keep off the lawn" signs. Car doors slammed in unison. A man stepped out of the lead car. He was tall, wearing a suit that cost more than the Vain's house. He radiated power like a sun. Daddy. Isla, his voice boomed. He walked straight past the Vains as if they were invisible. He came to the sandbox and scooped me up, ignoring the mud on my clothes. Are you hurt? He asked, checking my face. Daddy. I pointed at Lacey. That ugly lady tried to kick me. And they made Sissy cry. Daddy turned slowly. His gaze landed on the Vains. The temperature in the park seemed to drop 10 degrees. Mr. Sterling? Jeffrey Vain stuttered, his face draining of color. We didn't know. You didn't know that kicking my daughter is a bad idea? Daddy asked softly. Or you didn't know that Clementine is now a Sterling? Sterling? Deborah Vain gasped. She looked at Clementine, who was standing behind Nash, looking small and fragile. But, she's our daughter. Was, Daddy corrected. You threw her away. Isla found her. Finders keepers. That's kidnapping. Lacey screeched. She was not smart enough to read the room. She belongs to us. She's our servant, sister. Daddy laughed. It was a terrifying sound. Kidnapping? I have the adoption papers right here. Nash pulled a folder from his jacket. Signed, sealed, and approved by the highest court. Clementine Sterling is my eldest daughter. And you are trespassing. We'll sue. Jeffrey blustered, though he looked like he was about to faint. You can't just take her. Go ahead, Daddy said. But before you do, you should check your stocks. I believe Vain Enterprises just lost 40% of its value in the last 10 minutes. And if you don't leave my site in 10 seconds, it will be zero. The Vains froze. They checked their phones. Screams of horror erupted as they saw the red lines on their financial apps. Run along, Daddy said, waving his hand like shooing flies. They ran. They literally ran to their car and sped away. Chapter 5, The Real Princess. Daddy put me down and turned to Clementine. She was staring at him, wide-eyed. Mr. Sterling. She whispered. Dad, he corrected gently. Or Father. Whatever you're comfortable with. But never Mr. Sterling. He reached out and placed a hand on her shoulder. You defended Isla, he said. Nash told me. Even when you were scared, you didn't run. That makes you a Sterling. Clementine looked at me. I grinned, waving my muddy shovel. Sissy. Let's build the pool. Clementine smiled. It was a real smile this time, reaching her eyes. Okay, she said. Let's dig. The floating text above us swirled into a giant heart shape. Happy ending achieved. But wait, the sequel? Lacey isn't going to give up. She's definitely plotting revenge. Bring it on. Isla has a shovel and she knows how to use it. I giggled. What's so funny, Princess? Daddy asked. Nothing, I said, patting Clementine's hand. Just thinking about where to bury the trash. Daddy looked at Nash. Nash shrugged. She's a Sterling, sir. Indeed she is, Daddy said, beaming with pride. Indeed she is.